poop. I gotta fix... There we go. The thing just fell down. Alright, let's get some lighting in here. Well, that's good. Move some stuff around. I am muting my phone so that it doesn't bother. There we go. Alright, I'm gonna start the discussion in about like a minute. Just gonna see who wants to join in. Alright. So as we wait, I will play a little bit of some tank drum stuffs. Hello. Alright, so I'm going to start the discussion. So whoever is here is meant to be here, and whoever is not, obviously they can just watch the video afterwards. So the topic of discussion, and we're probably going to be talking about it for about 20 to 30 minutes, is sigils. What are sigils? Sigils are a symbol that has specific intentions behind it. When you begin utilizing sigils, you can program a sigil to be whatever it is that you want it to be based on the intentional output, or what it is that you want to manifest from it. Now, this all plays into the idea of, if you're in the spiritual community, you know, you've heard the phrase that you create your reality. So when you understand that you create your reality, you literally can start playing with your creativity in this space. One of the ways that was created is by creating sigils. Sigils have been around for, I'd say, 100 years, thousands of years, dating back all the way to before Christ. And a lot of times alchemists would actually utilize the sigils to transmute energy, to transmute different things that would benefit them consciously or spiritually. So the first thing to really talk about or to go into is belief. What is belief to you? What does it take for you to believe something? Does it take an experience for you to believe something? Does it take someone to share something with you that offers a different perspective or a different insight for you to believe that particular thing? Or does it take a ritual to make the mind believe what it is that you're doing is being created? It's all of them. Belief is just that faith or that trust that is just there. So when you have a belief on a sigil, you begin to program it, you begin to feed it. And when you feed sigils, meaning when you give it energy, and what energy correlates to in this particular reality that we live in is time. Time is the only real currency that we have in our physical body, which is funny because time is only a three-dimensional creation, but it really is the only currency that we have. So when you look at a sigil, for example, the sigil that I've made is called Chogopal. It's the one that you probably see a lot on my wall. It's the Y, the 3 dots, and the circle and the triangle. When that came to me, I didn't know what it was. I was like, what the heck is this? It came up behind the darkness of my eyes. And I started playing with it when I would do Reiki on people. I learned the different Reiki symbols. So there's Reiki symbols, sigils, runes, glyphs. Those are all different names for the same thing, basically. So I started playing with that sigil, the Chogopala symbol, and I had no idea what it was. Eventually it talked to me and it started sharing its insight with me, letting me know what it means or what it meant, because I had no idea what sigils were. This symbol came up behind the darkness of my eyes and it was just like, hey, pay attention to me. And I was looking at it like, okay, cool. So each time that I would use it on a client, the client would let me know that they would feel something energetically that from previous sessions that they've done with me. And when you start to use sigils, when you intentionally use a symbol or a sigil, you are dedicating your awareness to it. And your awareness correlates to time. Anything that you place your awareness on, you're giving time to, you're giving energy to, you're feeding it. So just like when you go to water a plant, you are giving it time, you're giving it energy. You're giving it water, of course, but how is the water getting to the plant? You have to feed it. So with a sigil is a tool. A sigil is a tool that allows you to tap in the greater exploration of how powerful we all are. And when you start playing with that mindset of how powerful we are, just take the creative potential as far as you can take it. You can create a sigil for anything. You can create a sigil for tapping into the collective consciousness, if you choose. If you're having difficulty channeling, you could create a sigil for that. So anytime that you would write the sigil down on a piece of paper, or you can write it on the back of your hand, for you, since you create your reality, that particular sigil now taps you into the collective consciousness so that you can tap into channeling and tap into previous existences, or they're really not previous existences, they're all happening simultaneously, but you can tap into consecutive existences that are going on right now. You can create a sigil for communicating with another person telepathically. You can create a sigil for visiting someone in a dream, as long as both people share that same belief on that particular sigil. And then that goes into creating a power object, or a power symbol, or a power sigil. So when you start playing with this, you can branch out into so many different ways as to how you want to create a particular sigil. So when you then share a sigil with another person, you are sharing your reality with another person. When you share that reality with another person, they have the choice of believing your reality and accepting your reality into theirs, or they can deny that reality and they could go around that reality and it doesn't work for them. But the moment that they accept your sigil, or they accept your power object or your power sigil, they are now feeding that sigil for it to mean that specific intention that you set for it. So when I first started playing with that sigil, the Chogopal sigil, I would only keep it to myself, because I was like, the ego was heavily involved. It's like, I don't want to share this with anybody. I want this to only be mine. And every time I'm going to use it on someone, I want people to feel it, because I want them to just feel that presence, and only I can do it. And I had to, for a couple months, I had to like really self-reflect and pay attention to those certain thought patterns of the ego. And eventually I was like, okay, I can actually share this, because it's kind of quote-unquote selfish to keep such a powerful piece of information from people, when ultimately we're all the same organism and our purpose is to just elevate each other. So in that process of understanding, another piece of information came through, and it's shared with me, is that every single person has their own signature sigil. Meaning every single person, when they come into this physical body, has a specific sigil, whether you know it or not, that allows you to tap into a greater state or a greater capacity of yourself. And you could utilize it for just yourself, or you can utilize it by sharing it with other people. So after this whole discussion, when we're complete, you can tap into that, and I'm going to talk about how to, so that you can create your own sigil to empower you to move forward. Maybe you might want to create a sigil for abundance, or a sigil for traveling somewhere. I do a lot of ritual work now, and I use sigils in the ritual work, as well as other modalities involved. But when you combine different tools or different modalities into one ritual, you create a space for the mind to believe what it is that you're creating is true, that it is happening. That is the purpose of a ritual. When you do a ritual, the whole purpose is to simply convince yourself that you are going to get that said outcome. That's why shamans do their song and dance and play the tambourines and do all this stuff and do whatever it is. And the people that come to those organized groups to take the medicine or ayahuasca, they now buy into the power object, which the power object in that case would be the shaman. So they believe that the shaman is healing them. They believe that the medicine is healing them. And that's just because they choose to believe that. In reality, they're just doing it themselves. They're creating all this themselves. And the reason why I'm mentioning this is because when you start feeding these sigils with your awareness, with your time, and sharing that sigil with other people who are doing the same work as you, you can all collectively create a hive mind or collective consciousness on a particular sigil. And from that point, it's important not to get lost in the tool, meaning not to give your power away to the tool. So when you use this, remember that it is always you that is creating this in the first place. But to even get to that point of understanding that it is always you creating all of this, you have to go through this process. You have to start convincing the mind through ritual until you no longer require a sigil, until you no longer require a tool, until you no longer require crystals, because crystals is another tool for awakening the consciousness. Crystals are, the only thing a crystal is an intentional, it's a placeholder for an intention. It is a placeholder that people have placed a collective consciousness on, and every single time a person has held the crystal, you don't know what it is, and then when someone's like, hey, this crystal means this, you buy into that story, and you're like, okay, that crystal means that. Okay, so that's what that means. Until you no longer require that crystal. Now, you already embody that, or what that crystal's intention is made for, and then you can discard the crystal, or you can gift it, or the crystal will find someone else, because they tend to have little feet. So, going back to when you create a sigil, you can share the sigil with other people who are doing the same work. And then you can put a collective consciousness, a collective energy on that sigil, which is why I share my sigil everywhere, because I want people to feed it as much as possible. Because my story and what I'm creating in this reality is, by the time this physical body is gone, I want that sigil to remain. And the moment someone going forward in our future lays eyes on that sigil, they will look at it and instantly be awoken. They'll look at it and say, holy shit, I'm aware of my thoughts. Oh wow, I'm the creator. And that's why I created that sigil. And that's why I feed it so much. I actually, so that's why I feed it so much. I was about to go off topic, but so when you put a collective consciousness on a sigil, think about all of the thousands of years of people that have known about this, tribes, ancient civilizations, that all have that collective consciousness on specific sigils. So if you go on the internet and you search sigils or ancient sigils or different things, usually you'll end up finding that they tap into quote-unquote black magic, or sigils that summon different demons or different entities. And the awesome thing about it is it's the same thing as a crystal. You're just tapping into the collective consciousness of what that sigil is. So if you use sigils, if you want to tap in and speak to demons or entities, whatever it is that you want to do, you can easily go on Google, find a sigil, do a little ritual around it, make yourself believe, so that you can tap into the collective consciousness of that, and you could eventually start channeling those specific entities. But think about how much collective consciousness is on those sigils. how many times, every single time a person has used those demon sigils or the sigils that create abundance, there's a whole bunch of different ones out there. Every single time that they've given it awareness or attention, it feeds it. So it's strong. It's a strong collective consciousness. It's a strong vibration that you can tap into so that you can align your vibration to that. And that's why alchemists would utilize it. That's why occultists would utilize it. And there's many different ways to feed a sigil. So I'm going to go over a couple of different ways to feed a sigil. First and foremost, always you're going to feed a sigil with time, because that's the only currency, that's the only thing that we have in this physical existence. So you have to feed it with time. But there's different ways to feed it with time. You can write it on a piece of paper, and you would just dedicate a meditation, and you focus on the sigil. All you do is just look at the sigil, you think about what the intention is. And for that remaining time, that's it. You've given it that attention. You've given it that energy. Another way is, for me, what I've done for myself, and at a certain point, doing all this stuff, I thought I was going crazy, because it was like, there's no way that I'm getting all this information, and after I got that information, I look up on the internet and it's actual real shit. I never knew about sigils because it came through me, and then I typed the word sigil and I was like, that's an actual thing? Okay. Wow. So I'm tapping into weird, like, not weird, it's not weird, it's actually awesome stuff, by just allowing myself to be an open vessel. So one of the other things that I did is I actually have that sigil, the Chogopal sigil, tattooed on my back. And why do I have that? Well, tattoos, if you understand Dr. Masaru Emoto's work with water, your body is a vessel for the water inside of you. So in my mind, what my guides were supporting me with is like, hey, we want you to tattoo that sigil on your back so that you can always program the water in your body and always be of that vibration to remember who you are before you chose your physical body. So I was like, okay, I'm going to do that. And mind you, I hadn't gotten a tattoo since I was 21. I have a tattoo on my right side of Jack Skellington. And then I had this thought like about 2 years ago now. So I've had it tattooed on my back. And as I was getting that tattoo, that was when they were working on the spine, that was when I started receiving more information as they were working on it. That was when it shared its name with me. It shared the purpose with me. Would the Christian... Yes, it would be. Anything that has a collective meaning behind it is a sigil, is a rune, is a glyph, is whatever it is that you other tribes want to name it. Like that symbol for the medical symbol, that's a sigil. But the thing is that it got lost in translation. People don't really know what it means too much now. So I got it tattooed on my back. That's another way to feed a sigil. And once I got it tattooed on my back, I received all that information about the name of it, the purpose of it, and I was like, okay, cool, that's cool. Yeah, and then other people online, as they saw my sigil, they got it tattooed on them. I have 2 people that follow me on Facebook that have this sigil tattooed on them, so that they can resonate at that vibration, so that they can remember who they are before they chose their physical bodies. And just to clarify what I said when I got it tattooed on my back, is it shared the name Chogopal, because I didn't know what the name was, and it also shared a key piece of information of what the Y meant, and what the now it's a Kundalini rising above it, but at the time I didn't realize what it was, and it's the rod of Asclepius. If you want to research that, the rod of Asclepius is fucking awesome. Actually, I have my own staff, which is the rod of Asclepius. But those are the 2 ways that you can do it. There's more ways. So the other ways that you can feed it, and this is where it kind of gets fun and it gets playful, because you are the creator of your reality. So you're not limited by anything. So the other ways that you can do it is sex magic. What is sex magic? Sex magic is simply, at the point of orgasm, you dedicate the whole orgasm, or the energy of it, to be sent somewhere. So you can send this particular energy to a sigil. Catechus is the mistaken one with the 2 snakes. Yes. Well, mine is the rod of Asclepius, which is just the one snake that goes all the way up. The catechist, I'm familiar with that one too. But sex magic, you can use for any number of things. And it's very powerful, which is why secret societies dabble in a lot of sex magic. And why is it so powerful? Because sexual energy is creation. Sexual energy is the most untapped resource that we misuse. So when we have sex with people, or when you masturbate, typically you're focusing on your partner, or since our society is so friggin' involved in porn, you're dedicating it to a friggin' image or a photo outside of yourself. And it's not taught of how powerful sex magic can be. So when you start playing with it, no pun intended, you can dedicate the orgasm to any number of manifestations that you want to create. You can visualize you traveling to Peru. You can visualize clients coming to you. You can visualize a partner being gravitated towards you. You can visualize yourself being more courageous in certain ways. And that's just with yourself. Now, if you partner with another person who is of the same mindset, that they believe they create their reality, and they believe that they can do anything that they want in this reality, you can dedicate both the masculine and feminine. It doesn't matter if you're gay or lesbian either, because one usually overpowers the other in terms of masculine or feminine. So there's always a masculine and feminine in a relationship. So it doesn't matter if you're gay or lesbian or anything like that. But at the point of orgasm, when you're both together, one person embodies the masculine, one person embodies the feminine, and that is the yin and yang. So when you dedicate the orgasm, when you both collectively orgasm, you can share, before the orgasm, you can share what it is that you want to send the intention to. And what you can start doing is, when you start playing with sigils, you can write the sigil on each other's body, and anytime that the energy is being cultivated, the sexual energy, it's being dedicated to that sigil. Or instead of writing it on the body, you can visualize you sending it to the sigil. You can visualize the orgasm, the creation energy being sent to that sigil to make that sigil much more powerful. But understand that all of this that you're just doing is you're playing with your own creationhood. You're playing with your own creatorhood. So don't get lost in the fact that this sigil now means this specific thing. They're just placeholders until you realize you don't require those placeholders. And that's the biggest key, because a lot of times in the spiritual community, we get lost in the different tools that are offered to us. We get lost in crystals. The crystal means this. The crystal's protecting me from this and that. What else do I hear that's funny? It's usually just the crystal stuff, actually. And I used to actually be like that. I used to have shungite crystal on my right ankle for like 2-3 years because I felt that it protected me from EMF waves. And it was just me misplacing my awareness on the crystal, not realizing that it was me the entire time that can put a field outside of me to, quote-unquote, protect me from things. And then I even got to a different understanding that you don't have to protect yourself from anything. Because if you are everything, why would you protect yourself from yourself? Something to think about. But that's sigils. Those are the couple ways that you can empower a sigil. So be creative with what type of sigil you want to make. Because you are the wizards, the sorceresses, the witches, the warlocks. You're all of it. And we're just now remembering to tap into it again. Like, if you're watching this, you were probably killed for sharing this information, or for actually dabbling in this type of magic. Because this is stuff that goes against the church, it goes against religions, and it empowers you. It empowers you to step into your fucking divine so that you can create your reality and how you want to create it. So I wanted, another couple things that I want to share. Once you start playing with sigils, you can start enchanting objects with sigils. I mean, you probably heard that there are enchanted objects all around the world and different things. They do this, they do that. It's because the person that enchanted it either used the sigil, or they got to a place of or an understanding that by them simply focusing a specific intention on an object, that object now meant this. So it enchanted it for that specific thing. So the reason I'm sharing this is because I'm about to show you my own enchanted objects. So for my tank drums, this is a tank drum that I had created, and there's a bunch of sigils on it. I'm not sure if you can see very well, but you can see my sigil in the very center, and then there's a whole bunch of other sigils all around it. There's a total of 13 sigils on it. Now, why did I put my sigil on here, and why did I put the other sigils on here? Because you create your reality. You are limited only by your own creative expression and what you want to believe. So in my reality, my belief is that by me placing the sigil on this instrument, anytime now going forward that anyone hears this instrument, they are now receiving the intention of the sigil within them. So the sigil, this one, is the sigil of remembrance. So my intention is anytime I play this and anyone hears it, if I go and play at Wynwood or people that don't really follow this stuff, the higher consciousness being supersedes the normal consciousness. Meaning, even though we're not allowed to technically influence free will, or make a person make a choice through free will, you can still play certain things, or you can still say certain words that may inspire them to step into that space. So even if they don't know exactly what it is that you're doing. So that's why I created different objects, different instruments that have that specific meaning. And you can play with so many different ways of doing this. You can enchant a necklace using a sigil until you don't require the sigil anymore. Then you could just hold it in your hand, say, all right, this means this now. You are now enchanted. Or you can do a whole ritual around it. It doesn't matter. The whole point of the ritual is to make you believe that you're setting the intention in this specific object so that it means that thing. And that's the bottom line of what sigils are. It's a dedicated meaning, a dedicated intention, so that you can use it. Yes, that's a better way to say it. It influences. What else? So I already discussed power objects. I discussed enchanted objects with sigils. So start playing with it. Find someone maybe in here that would like to play, or if you want to play with me in terms of we can create a sigil together. Because I'm going to actually guide a little meditation so that you can tap into a sigil of your own. But talk to someone that dabbles in this stuff. Create a sigil for yourself, and maybe make a sigil so that when you use it, before you go to sleep, you put it on the back of your hand, and it allows you to step into each other's dreams. Just a thought. There's sigils like that. You can step into other people's dreams. I've visited many people in their dreams. So, I don't know, just be the wizard, be the warlock, be the witch, be the sorceress. Play with it. This is literally a sandbox to have fun with and create different things until we don't require the tool. And then we just stand up in our space and we're like, yes, I am this. I create all the things around me. It could be, actually. A sigil, typically what they teach on the internet for sigils is the way to create a sigil, which I really don't agree with this way, is you would write out like a small sentence of what the intention is, and you take out the vowels and then you kind of like mash all the other letters together until it forms a weird symbol. I prefer the way that I do it, which is you just get a piece of paper and you start making shapes, or you start doing lines or doodle, something very simple. Like I'm going to actually create one really quick. Actually, what I can do is I'm going to show you a sigil that I'm giving power to based on a movie that I saw. So check this out. If some of you may have seen the movie, what's it called? Doctor Strange. Doctor Strange has so many sigils in it, which is why I love that movie so much. If you haven't seen it, please go see that movie. It is awesome. Alright, so based on that movie, I wanted to create a sigil so that when I use it, I can, just like the movie, I would push them out of their body so that they can have an out-of-body experience. So this is the sigil that I am giving power to so that I can do the same thing. And at a certain point, my belief, because I'm playing with this, will actually believe it. So when I actually do that to someone, it's going to happen. But you just have to keep feeding it. You just have to keep giving it time. You have to keep giving it energy. So this is the sigil for that. So it could be something that's simple. So, and the reason why I made it like that is because the line represents the person, and the two half C's represent the wings of the person. So in my reality, I feel everyone has wings. So when I push them out, I want them to feel their wings and to fly with their wings that they have. So that's why I'm using this as a sigil for that. So I've been given this power. A couple other sigils that have come to me, but I have no idea what the meanings are just yet. Hang on. And I see sigils all the time behind the darkness of my eyes. So this are two other sigils that I'm playing with. And I'm only playing with them because I don't know what they mean just yet. But they came to me, and they wanted to be played with. So they could be something simple as a circle with a check mark in it, a circle with dots in it, a stick figure with like horns, if you want to do that. There's many different ways to do a sigil. There is no wrong way to do a sigil. The reason is because you create your reality. So create something that you feel works for you. And it's the same with anything that you ever do in this existence. Things will only work if you believe that they work. Meditation will only work is if you believe that specific meditation is going to do that. The outcome of it. So there's so many different meditations out there. You ever thought about like why certain meditations work and why others don't? Because you don't really give it the belief that it will do something for you. And then there's other meditations that like, oh wow, this one feels amazing. It's just because you chose that specific meditation to mean that for you, and you create the reality based around that. Okay, so what I want to do now is I want to do a tank drum sound healing for you guys. Hang on, I'm kind of sweating. I want some water. Getting a lot of information. Okay, some people are more inclined to meditate different ways and stick with the ones that work. Yes. So I'm gonna guide you on a meditation. I'm gonna take you to a space so that you can see or you can discover your own sigil. And what may be shown to you is your signature sigil, or it may not. It may be a different sigil that is meant for it to be worked with you right now. Pegasus, rooks, ravens, snakes, fish, even roses are images that present themselves. Would they consider as sigils? It depends on what the intention is behind those images. So if those images have specific collective intentions, then yes, they are sigils. Okay, so wherever you are, you're going to begin to close your eyes. And take a deep inhale in through the nose. Exhale out the mouth. Deep inhale through the nose. Exhale out the mouth. Last deep inhale, you're going to hold for 10 seconds. Deep inhale in. Exhale out the mouth. Breathing normally. Letting go of the day. Letting go of where you have to be when you leave here. Begin remembering what you looked like before you closed your eyes. The clothes that you were wearing. Remembering what the room looked like before you closed your eyes. The textures of the floor, the textures of the ceiling. And little by little, as you're recreating this in your mind, the textures of the walls and the ceiling begin to fade. They begin to turn to a white color. Until it is just you inside of a white room. No furniture. Just your physical body inside that white room. And as you're inside this white room, begin to witness yourself and seeing yourself standing up in that room. And when you stand up, you can begin to look down towards your physical body, still resting in that same position before you closed your eyes. This room is a room of healing, of rejuvenation, of love, of peace, relaxation for the body, the physical body. So as you go and venture off to discover your sigil, or a symbol for you to work with, know that your body is safe. Little by little, you begin to see a door emerge inside this white room. Begin to walk over towards the door. Opening the door slowly. On the other side of this door is a beautiful forest of your creation. Step through the door. Close the door behind you. And witness how beautiful that forest is. The colors, the sky, the trees, the animals flying through, the butterflies. you're in this forest, for the next few moments, I want to give you free range to be like a child once more, with a sense of wonder, a sense of wonderment. So, run through the forest, dance, climb the trees, walk, enjoy the scenery, as if you were a child looking at things for the first time. Do things that you normally wouldn't, to remind yourself of your childhood. Enjoy this moment. If the mind wanders, continue to bring it back to visualizing your space, being in the forest, the freedom that you have. And as you're adventuring through this forest, you begin to see smoke coming off in the distance. Begin to make your way towards that smoke. As you make your way towards that smoke, you begin to see a cabin. And the smoke is coming from the chimney. Make your way towards the door of the cabin. Opening the cabin door slowly, because you're not sure what's inside. And once you open the door, you see a table in the middle. A person is sitting down in one of the chairs, and there's another chair on the opposite side of them. They ask you to sit down. This is one of your spirit guides. For the next few moments, you can ask any questions that you want until we get to the matter at hand, the sigil that is meant for you in this moment. So have an open conversation, have an open dialogue with your spirit guide, asking any question that you have. Do so now. your spirit guide begins to reach into their pocket and pulls out a piece of paper that is folded, and they place it upon the table that you're sitting at. They ask you to grab the piece of paper, and they let you know that on the other side of this paper, once you open it, that this is a sigil, a symbol that will be used to empower you further, to push yourself further. So each time that you use this sigil, or each time that you remember that you have this as a tool, it will empower you. And only you will know what this sigil means. So it is up to you to decipher what this sigil means, so that you can use it. And you may not know it in the very beginning, but as you continue to play with it and use it, it will speak to you, and it will let you know what the purpose of it is. So for now, opening the piece of paper and taking this time for yourself, absorbing what that symbol is, that sigil is for you, what it looks like. Do so now. Now that you absorbed what that sigil is, you can place that in your pocket. It is now in your repertoire of tools. And if you'd like to know what it is or what it means in this moment, ask your spirit guide that's sitting across from you if they want to share what it means right now. They may share what it means to you. Do so now. Now that they've shared the information with you, or not, it's now time to return. So your spirit guide begins to stand up, and you do the same in that cabin. The spirit guide begins to embrace you in a loving embrace, reminding you that you are never alone. You're always being watched over, always being guided. And you begin to make your way towards a door once more, saying your goodbyes. Leaving the cabin. And as you leave the cabin, another door emerges in the middle of the pathway. This door leads back to that white room that you first started in. Begin to open that door. Step in through the door, into that white room where your physical body is still in the same position before you closed your eyes. Begin to walk over towards your physical body. And for the next few moments as I'm playing, appreciate your body. Acknowledge your body for how far you've come. Always being in a state of gratitude for allowing it to feel, to taste, to touch, to see. Honoring that body. Honoring that temple for allowing you to experience this world. Begin to see yourself laying down or sitting back down in the same position that the physical body is in. And the moment you do, the white room, the texture of the room begins to come back. You begin to remember the space that you're sitting in. You begin to remember the different colors that were in the room with you. Take a deep inhale through the nose. Exhale out the mouth. Deep inhale through the nose. Exhale out the mouth. Last deep inhale, hold for 10 seconds. Deep inhale in. Exhale out the mouth. Breathing normally. Recognizing how your body feels in this moment. Seeing what it's communicating to you. And taking a moment as you're doing that to recall what symbol or sigil it was that you saw. Keep it fresh in the mind. And slowly begin to open the eyes, reacclimating yourself to the environment that you're in. So, thank you guys for participating in that meditation. I would highly recommend that you get a piece of paper and you write down what it was that you saw, if you saw anything at all, so that you can keep it fresh and utilize what we discussed on empowering that sigil, so that you can begin stepping into more versions of yourself, more powerful versions of yourself, but at the same time realizing that it's just you. This is just a tool for you to step into. I'm going to end the video now. If you want to send me a message as to how you felt during this meditation, I would love to hear it. or if you just want to comment in the video itself, feel free to do so. And thank you so much. I love you guys. Bye.